Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ValuablePristine8037. Am I the a-hole for walking out of my engagement party and refusing to answer calls for 3 days? My now ex-boyfriend proposed 4 days ago. Let's call him Tim. Tim and I have been together for 2 years. We talked about marriage. We are both 26 and kids, etc. And until last week, I thought I had the perfect love life. Now, Tim has his best friend Mimi, fake name. Tim also has a friend group he is very close to. The problem throughout our relationship was that Tim would place me last whenever his friends were involved. He missed a promotion dinner for my work because Mimi's dog was throwing up. Not just that, he also missed Diwali celebrations with my family because his friends wanted him to help them paint their new house. Plus, some issues with his teenage years involving his friends resulted in his dad threatening to take away his inheritance and distribute it to relatives. For context, his dad introduced us, and until last year, before I left the workplace, which I joined straight after college, his dad was my boss. I still see him as a father figure and respect him a lot. Now, I have outright told Tim that I don't like public proposals. I am very introverted and having eyes on me during a loving moment will only cause me anxiety. Tim said he understood and promised he wouldn't do one when he proposed. Another thing I told Tim was that Mimi treats me passive-aggressively because I'm kind of an anxious person. I have mild OCD. And asked him to not involve her in our affairs. Tim said Mimi only wants the best for us. I kind of didn't press the issue after he got defensive. Thursday, after I entered my flat, I was greeted by all of Tim's friends and Tim in a suit and a ring in hand. I kid you not, my flat was swarmed. There were people I didn't even know. Before Tim even said anything, Mimi chimed in and said, "Chill, OP, dear God, this is not the time to make that face." I saw red. I was having a severe anxiety attack as I don't do well with lots of people. I calmly told them that there would be no proposal and to get the hell out of my flat. They looked like in shock, so I just left my flat with just my purse. I called my best friend on the way and told her to get them out. And just called a car service and sat in the car crying for 2 hours, and then I went to a cabin that I bought. I texted my parents so they wouldn't worry and told them to not take Tim's calls. I switched off my phone and stayed there. Luckily, I had enough cash to make a grocery run, and the cabin was used last month. I only switched my phone on when I was calling a car and saw the barrage of calls and texts. I called Tim in the car and he sounded defeated and kept on apologizing and crying. I told him it was over. Turns out my best friend told his dad, who was so mad, he told him that he would only get half his inheritance. I now feel that I reacted very badly and could have handled it with grace. I might have let my anxiety take over and overreacted, and I cost Tim his money. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you're not the a-hole and you didn't cost Tim anything. Whatever the deal is with Tim's inheritance, that's something that's got to do between Tim and his dad, and that's it. Nothing to do with you, so don't worry about it, OP. And about you overreacting, OP, you were having a panic attack. I don't think you can control that and try to get in the mindset of a proposal. Also, you had spoken to Tim about this, that you don't like public proposals and that you're not a very big fan of this Mimi person. But in apparently a very Tim fashion, he just brushed all of that aside because he wanted to do things his way, which was exactly not the way that you specifically asked him to do it. So I'm getting the impression that Tim is apparently denser than mercury yogurt. Regardless, now he's crying and he's regretful because of what his dad did to him. So seriously, OP, is this a relationship you would really want to continue in? And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. The Crown and Anchor says, so essentially the proposal was what Mimi wanted, not what you wanted. She knew you weren't going to like it, which was why she made the statement that she did right when you walked in. This was her goal the entire time. She wants your ex to herself, so don't feel bad for your ex. He's a dumbass and he's stuck with Mimi now. That being said, change the locks on your apartment, and when you get home, make sure nothing is missing and nothing is damaged or broken. If it is, send the bill to your ex. Frankly, I'd have the entire place deep cleaned and send him the bill as well as the bill for the locksmith. Odds are his father would force him to pay for it. Look, Mimi wants your ex. She was always going to ruin your relationship, so just be glad it happened now before marriage and kids were involved, not the a-hole. Corpuscular Ocelot says, you need to face the fact that he didn't care that much for you. He was with you to keep daddy's money. You, and probably your children, wouldn't be priorities. His friends and his real girlfriend, his best friend, were always going to be his top priority. You deserve better and you have every advantage to get it. I understand you respect and care for your old boss, but remember that he knows his son is a loser and wanted him to marry you so that someone he trusts would be taking care of his son. It didn't matter that he was arranging a bad match for you. And Mary Moose says, not the a-hole. You were clear about the things you didn't want, but your ex did exactly what he wanted. And if his friend only wanted the best for the two of you, there wouldn't have been a snarky comment from her. Opie, you didn't have the perfect love life. You were with a guy who cared more about his friends and what he wanted than what you wanted or would be comfortable with. He dismissed your concerns about Mimi and you were always last after his friends. You did handle this with as much grace as the situation called for. Your ex invited all these people to your flat without your permission and knowing full well that you would not be comfortable with a public proposal. He even invited someone you are not comfortable with, Mimi. You were calm, didn't make a scene, and left after telling people to leave your home. Whatever happened between your ex and his father doesn't involve you. Opie's edit. My ex-boyfriend and I are both Indians. One of the reasons why Tim's dad likes me is that I am from the same culture. Though I am not comfortable with this reasoning. I am a lawyer and make enough money to buy and maintain a flat and a cabin. Tim only has access to my flat. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that ending the relationship with somebody who is apparently as selfish as Tim is the right thing to do. Now, OP did not reply to any comments or give us any other context than the one in her edit, so we move on straight to the update to see how the story ends. Most people in my previous post said that it wasn't my fault, and after properly speaking to my family and friends, I realized that I was indeed not that wrong. The bit about changing the locks, I'll get to that later, but my best friend, who is staying with me for a few days, said that she checked and everything in my flat was in the right place, so I guess that's one problem less. Also, people who keep sending me DMs saying it is fake because I own a cabin, I have no answer for that. Yes, I make enough money to live comfortably on my own and also have an extra place that I like to go to alone. And to some really funny gentlemen who have sent me more DMs on how I'd never find a husband if I didn't learn to keep my mouth shut, please eat crap. I don't have the mental space to argue with losers right now. Also, about his friends. They are friends from school, Mimi included. They are a group of 8 to 9 people and 2 of them are engaged and 1 is married. Tim is technically the most well-to-do guy in the group. Well, his dad is. Plus, Tim always helps them out. I thought he was a very good man and very generous, but never did what he does for them for me, nor for his dad. He only helps out his friends. For the main update, I went and spoke to Tim's dad first. He was very mad at his son. He kept saying that Tim had finally crossed limits with that group and asked me to forgive his son. I respectfully told them that even if I got back with his son, my dad wouldn't approve, which was true, and I said that because I knew for Tim's dad, my dad's opinion mattered more. His dad then said that he was deeply sorry and that he would still support me if I needed help in the future. And I decided to take the things he left at my flat to him because I didn't want him over mine ever again. Tim said he was very sorry, that he hadn't thought I was being genuine about my social anxiety. He has seen me get panic attacks in crowds, and he thought that his friends' enthusiasm would be a positive thing. I asked him why none of my friends were there, and he said that because I have a very small number of friends, he thought we would have a nice dinner with them to share the news. Not gonna lie, his words hurt because his friends deserved to be at the proposal, but mine didn't because there were only 5 of them. Tim also mentioned that Mimi didn't like one of my friends because she was a single mom, and it just made me more mad. I told him that he would be better off marrying Mimi because it was clear everything in his life was about her. I told him that he was a crap partner and that's the reason why I wouldn't marry him. I also told him his dad is going to cut off his money because he has let Mimi bully me throughout our relationship, and it was Mimi's words that made me leave the proposal. Tim looked very hurt and started apologizing. He also said that he never cheated on me, that he loved me, and he promised to do better. So I told him I'd give him a chance if he cut off every one of his friends and moved with me to another city. He started crying at that and said he possibly couldn't live that way and asked me to reconsider. I told him I knew he would never choose me over his friends, and I was feeling very petty, so I told him that Mimi would also never choose him over her successful boyfriend, nor would any of his friends choose him over their own families. He told me he was very sorry and that he would limit contact with them, but I told him there was no way I was going to be with him. I dropped his things and I wanted to cry because he wouldn't even get up from the sofa or apologize or say that he wouldn't speak to Mimi again. He just turned his face away. I left. Mimi later came by to my flat and asked if we could talk, so I let her in. My friend says it was a dumb move, but I was working and crying at the same time, so I wasn't thinking much. She said that Tim yelled at her for ruining his relationship and she didn't know what she did wrong. I honestly had zero energy for her and just told her if she was done talking to please leave. Mimi said that she just wanted to be there for Tim and me making his dad cut him off was an awful thing to do. I then asked why she made a comment she knew would piss me off when I was being proposed to. Mimi replied that it was a joke and I shouldn't have taken her seriously. I just asked her to leave after that. She said she hoped I would be happy in the future, so I guess that was it. All of Tim's friends' numbers are blocked, including Mimi's. I blocked Tim and I'll get the logs changed next week. I wish I could write something positive here, but alas. Hopefully, there will be no more updates on this. Well, OP, at least you're able to move on, although I probably would have done it a little bit different. I would have avoided all that dramatic conversation and the ultimatum of him leaving his friends and all that. If you already knew that you're not going to get back with him, why go through all of that? I would have just dropped his things, said goodbye, and moved on. But regardless of how I would do it, you're out. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thank you for sharing. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's from user Great Charges. Am I the a-hole for missing my daughter's birthday and my wedding anniversary for the birth of my sister's baby? My wife, 31 female, and I, 33 male, have been married for 8 years, and we have a 6-year-old daughter. My sister, 31 female, was married to her husband, but because of his infidelity, they are now looking for divorce. My sister was pregnant with her first child, but she did not want her husband in the delivery room with her. She called me and asked if I could come for emotional support because she was nervous about childbirth. I, of course, said yes. She lives in a different state and I was going to go there for a week. But when I told my wife about it, she said that I would be missing my daughter's birthday and our wedding anniversary. They are both a day apart. I knew I would be missing those days, but I didn't think it was a big deal, and I told her we would celebrate the anniversary when I came back, and I didn't really need to be physically present for my daughter's birthday. I could just FaceTime her. My wife then asked why my sister couldn't call anyone else for emotional support, and I told her that was a really selfish thing to say. I was there for the birth of my sister's baby, and everything went pretty smooth. When I came back, I was really happy and I started making plans for the wedding anniversary, but my wife seems a bit sad about everything. I know it's because I missed the anniversary, but I really don't see what's the big deal when we can celebrate it on another day. I understand my wife considers it a very important and special day, but it's just a day and it doesn't mean anything in significance compared to the birth of my sister's baby. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in my opinion, yeah, you are the a-hole. I mean, not only did you accept to do this for your sister, which, really nice of you to do, but you didn't speak about this with your wife. You just decided to do it and then told her about it. And you say that you understand that your wife considers it a very important and special day, but regardless of you knowing that you were gonna miss it, you said yes anyways, again, without talking to her about it. That's what, in my opinion, makes you a part a-hole. The other part a-hole you are because you missed your daughter's birthday. And I don't know about you, but like the Rolling Stones say, wild horses couldn't drag me away from my kid's birthday, any of them. Now, your wife's reasoning made sense to me. Why couldn't your sister call anybody else in your family for support during that day? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something on that. And what do you guys think? Do you agree with OP that an anniversary is just a day and it doesn't mean anything in significance compared to the birth of the sister's baby? Let me know in the comments section. And now, let's check out the community comments. Superflex says, missing the birthday and anniversary are, in the grand scheme of things, only a little problematic. The reason you're the a-hole is because you decided everything unilaterally, and that was a really crappy thing to do to your wife. You're supposed to be partners. That means you owe your wife a discussion about it before you make a commitment to your sister. You've just demonstrated to your wife that when something is important to you, any consideration for her or your kid goes out the window. Prof Plum did it says, you're the a-hole. This is something you should have discussed with your wife and decided on together. By unilaterally making the decision and then just telling your wife what would happen, you basically said to her, only what I want and what my sister wants matters to me. Your thoughts and feelings aren't even important enough for me to ask what they are. And our wedding? Just another BS day that I don't care about, and I don't care if you care about it. And our daughter? Not as important as my niece. It isn't so much about the dates and events of those dates. It's that you don't consider your wife important enough to discuss things with her before making plans. She's not sad about the anniversary. She's sad you made her feel like she doesn't matter. That her feelings weren't even worth consideration to you. And Maiden Mother Crone 333 says, yes, you're the a-hole. You made it very clear that your wife and daughter aren't a priority for you. My husband missed several wedding anniversaries, including big ones like our 25th. And birthdays because he was deployed, but he always made sure I felt special those days by arranging flowers or a gift delivered, or arranged a spa day once and a call to tell me he loved me. You just blew both days off and think you can make it up later. You can't. The days came and went and you can't make up for it. Your wife is sad because she feels unimportant to you, that your anniversary was unimportant. You keep saying it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal to her, and to most women I know. Not a good husband move, OP. So, the community mostly agrees that OP is the a-hole for not talking to his wife about it and for missing those days. Now, OP did not reply to any comments or give us an edit, so we move on straight to the update to see how this story ends. Wow, that was a barrage of onslaught. I read a lot of the comments and most people think I was an a-hole, which I did not expect, but it opened my eyes that I may have been neglectful to my wife. I want to provide a quick update, but also first provide some more background and clarify a couple of things. I read a lot of comments misinterpreting what I said on my last post. Of course, I think my daughter's birthday and our anniversary are very important and special occasions. I just meant that compared to the process of going through childbirth during a stressful time, it seemed insignificant to me. Yeah, I still don't think calling them insignificant makes this any better, man. My sister found out only a couple of months ago about her husband's affair. It was horrible. When she called me, she was really worried about how the stress was going to affect labor. She was actually worried she was going to die because one of her friend's mothers died during childbirth. She was panicking and I had to calm her down. Of course I was going to go, whether it was for a week or a month or however long. A few comments asked why my sister did not call our parents. Both our parents passed away in an accident when we were really young and we were taken in by our loving grandparents, who we'll always be grateful and thankful for. Both our grandparents have also passed away. Besides, my sister and I have always been tight. Why didn't I take my daughter and my wife with me? My daughter's birthday party was set up and the invitations had already been sent to friends and family. Besides, the last thing I was thinking at that time was a family trip. Now getting to the update. Yes, I do realize after reading the comments that the way I went about everything was wrong. I shouldn't have called my wife selfish, and I should have put more effort on our anniversary. I only called her and didn't send her any gifts or flowers on our anniversary, and that's my fault. I had a discussion with my wife a couple of hours ago, and I apologized for everything and told her I would make up for it. She actually seemed very happy after the discussion. I think it's because I apologized and took accountability, which admittedly I haven't done recently. I reassured her that our anniversary is the day I will always cherish the most. Doesn't sound like it. I didn't speak about my daughter much in the last post because there wasn't really much to say. She did have a great time at the party. Yes, she missed me, but she's really happy I'm back now. Okay, OP. I'm a little bit at a loss for words as to what to say because I want to be nice, so I'm just gonna read one comment that says what I'm thinking. And it's a comment from Environmental Ad 1791. Good for you, my man, but people like you give me hope. No matter how daft I'll be, I'll never be this daft. So here's wishing your wife and daughter the best in the future. Hope they take care. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.